Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior Project. I'm also an attorney at the Arizona Consumer Law Group. I have a link to a couple articles here in the comments section that you can link through to get some more information on what it is that I do. On today's video, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people get tripped up on and can cause a lot of problems when it comes to debt and debt collection, and that is the statute of limitations. Now, I should preface this before I go any further that the statute of limitations that I'm going to be speaking about relate to Arizona law. There's different laws in every state as it relates to the statute of limitations, so this is Arizona specific. But what I wanted to talk about is what I see a lot with clients that come into my office is they come in and they were sued by a debt collector, credit card company, something like that, and they didn't respond to it. They got a judgment against them. And then once the judgment was entered, then years later, they're still trying to collect on it. And a lot of people will come in and say, look, this was a credit card from 2002. They got a judgment in 2005. And here we are in 2017, and they're still trying to collect on it. Hasn't the statute of limitations expired? And we're talking really about two different things there. The statute of limitations is the amount of time that the law gives a creditor to file a lawsuit against you after you go into default. So let's use that timeline. So let's say you have a 2002 credit card and you stop making the payments in 2002 and the card goes into default because of that. Once the card goes into default, then the creditor has 6 years to file the lawsuit. If they don't file a lawsuit within 6 years, then at that point, they are barred from ever doing so because the statute of limitations has run. And I'm using a 6-year statute because that's what the statute of limitations is in Arizona on credit cards and on written contracts. And it's very specific. There's some confusion in Arizona because the old law used to say that revolving accounts had a 3-year statute of limitations. They amended that, the legislature did, and now it's a 6-year statute applies to credit cards. So once they have filed the lawsuit, though, if they did that within that 6-year time period, statute of limitations is no longer an issue. It's not something you can go in and argue after the fact if they filed it within that 6-year window. So if they ended up with a default judgment because you didn't respond or something like that, the fact that they were within the 6-year window when they initially filed the lawsuit, statute of limitations is no longer an argument. Now, there is a different issue that Arizona has a law that says that judgments, once they're entered, they're only good for 5 years. However, they have to be renewed after 5 years, and they can be renewed every 5 years for the rest of your life. So you got to deal with it because most creditors will be on top of things and they'll renew it. It's always important to check because sometimes they don't renew them or sometimes they don't renew them timely. And I'm going to do a whole other video on what it is to renew a judgment. But just wanted to throw that out there real quick. The statute of limitations, if it's been 6 years from the time that the default occurred, and default with most credit cards happens roughly 30 to 45 days after you missed a payment. Technically, they could sue you at that point. They often don't, but they could. So, but if it's been 6 years, then they can never come after you for that debt. But if they've already filed the lawsuit, it was within the 6-year window, and they got the judgment, that's no longer a defense that you have. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit with statute of limitations and understanding what that is, particularly here in Arizona. If you want to learn more about this topic, I put a link there in the comments section. I have a page with some other articles I've written on the statute of limitations and how that impacts debt collection cases, particularly debt buyer or credit card type cases. Or you can just head over to consumerwarrior.com. Ton of videos. I've got about 100 videos. We have about 500 articles on topics that can help you out. So hopefully that helped you out. Appreciate you watching today, and we will catch you tomorrow.